podcast. She was just starting it in 2018. It's called Goop, Goop. Her very first person on the podcast was Oprah Winfrey. I don't know who you interviewed after Oprah Winfrey. I never listened to it after that because who do you interview after Oprah?
Right.
So Oprah talked about this book called The Seat of the Soul. The Seat of the Soul is a really good book. It's by I always mess up his last name, but it's Gary something, and his last name starts with a Z. And then there was a book called The Untethered Soul that I read in 2018. Mm-hmm. Those two books, I think, collectively shifted me. Oh, and Simon Sinek, Start With Why.
Okay.
Those three books that summer were the three books that I read that literally transformed and gave me the boost and lit a fire up under me and said, you know what, just do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
So those were the books.
Yeah. That's very, very cool. And I love also that you kind of beat me to asking you about the fear and how you approach fear. So I think it's fantastic that was something that you already are aware of how you do that and kind of fully embrace it when things get tough. So yes. Let's kind of jump in then on, because I think it's fantastic that you've helped so many people start from kind of scratch, basically. So sure. What are some things that you notice when people come to you about their brand and kind of making themselves a bigger, larger type of deal, on things that they constantly do wrong, that they should be doing right, or some tactics that you like to use or questions you like to ask people to pull out what their why is and why they want to do what they want to do?
So the question is, what are some of the things that I do that help to pull those things out of people specifically?
Yes.
Yeah. So I think that I approach things in a very unconventional way. I think I won't say very, but I think the process that I set up. So what happened was I launched my business. I quit my job September the 22nd, 2018. I launched my business November the 16th, 2018. And in my mind, I was thinking, okay, I'm going to have to see if I can get about 4 people to sign up. You know, maybe I can get, at least 4. My goal is 3 to 4 clients a month. And people started coming so rapidly that it caught me off guard. Mm-hmm. And within a year's time, I saw over 100 people, over 100 different entrepreneurs flock to me within a year. And I was able to, because people started coming so rapidly in the beginning, I was able to really bunker down and create a 3-session process that takes any entrepreneur or creator from connecting to purpose and passion, connecting your passion and your purpose to what you do creatively, giving you a unique and very catered to who you are voice and message, to identifying who their audience is and structuring their business around that, creating an elevator pitch and the aesthetics of how their business feels, to the 3rd session, which is all about strategy and marketing strategies, how you amplify that message into the world. And so the look of it is kind of like a car wash for your business. A lot of my clients describe the first sessions, they say it feels like therapy because of the questioning and the way that I pull the information from them and how we develop and create that unique voice and brand. And so it really is a very intimate 3-session process that people go through. And then at the end of the process, because my clients were describing it like a bad breakup because they didn't want to leave, I created a Facebook group that is private for my clients to have access. And I'm just now building that community for my clients to have extended access to me and to a community where they can all connect, share, and grow with each other as entrepreneurs. It's called A Lot Alike so that people can really know that we're a lot more alike than we are different. And so, so that 3-session process is kind of the unique way in which I pull it out, by really digging into who they are, digging into their past, discovering their purpose, which is really written in their past, connecting it to their passion, and then we come up with strategy as to how to market that in their life.
Oh, that's great. So I'm curious to hear more about the last part that you brought up about the group. Why do you think it's important for people to continue having a support group around them?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it is 100% essential to the level in which you can grow in your business, to have people in your life that are either on the same page as you or ahead of you, to have people in your life that inspire you. I remember when I first started, and I think anybody who is running their own business probably can attest to this. If you didn't already have entrepreneurial friends when you started to be an entrepreneur, you'll quickly discover that the friends that you have that don't have that same energy or spirit will kind of fade into the background. And you'll either find yourself alone, or you'll find and connect to more people who all they do is talk about their business, right? Your circle quickly shifts when you get really focused. Or you, for a lot of us, sometimes find yourself so consumed with work that you find yourself kind of not having anybody that's connected to you. And sometimes the things that you go through, you kind of feel like you're alone. You don't have a person to have these conversations with, to bounce things off of, and you feel like, am I doing this right? Am I making the right decision? Should I be feeling this way? And so forth. And so I think that in the beginning, which is a big part of the reason I created this group, was because there's a little bit of selfishness here. I felt like I was scrapping for people to have these conversations with. And so I wanted to create this group to generate more of that energy, which also selfishly was why I created the open mic as a creative. I didn't feel like I had a lot of creatives around. And so I created a space for them to come so I could be inspired by them, right? But I think it's important for the growth of your business to be able to have people to not only hold you accountable and to have those conversations with, but it also just gives you the boost internally, mentally, emotionally, to not only be inspired, have conversations, share experiences, but also to just be able to realize that the stuff you're going through is more common than you believe it to be. And so, yeah, I think it's extremely important.
Yeah. Well, great. So I'm curious then, with everything that you have done and experienced throughout your career so far, what would you say has been the best advice that you were ever given?
Oh, wow. Well, that's a very good question. The best advice that I was ever given, I would probably have to say that the best advice that and I don't know that I was given this advice or that if I just stumbled upon it somewhere in some of the things that I was like digesting, listening to TED Talks left and right, and, content you're consuming on social media. But I think some of the best advice was really grasping the idea that rest and quiet time away from your business is essential to the growth of your business. And I say that because we live in a space where the grind and hustle is like the norm. And sometimes it's frowned upon to take breaks or to get rest at night. And it seems to be this idea that if you work hard and work consistently and all the time and never stop, that's how you succeed. But it's really not about the consistency. That consistency doesn't equal nonstop. That consistency just means simply that, by definition, is that it is consistent. So if your consistency is, I only show up and do these things in my business 2 to 3 times a week, then you consistently show up 2 to 3 times a week. Consistency doesn't mean 7 days a week. And I think that's gotten blurry. And I think one of the things that I received in this process and in this journey was really understanding that, because me being at my best self, me getting sleep, me being able to have a sound mind and find that balance is how I can build a business that will be sustainable. It is how I can build a business that won't, flake. It's how I can show up and have these conversations with you and have a clear mind and answer these questions in an articulate way when I'm not drained because I didn't get any sleep and I've been grinding since last Tuesday, with no sleep. And so I think that's probably some of the best advice in a culture that I would like to see change, a mindset that I would like to see shift with entrepreneurs.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. Yeah, no, that's absolutely wonderful. You're right. You have to have a good balance in your life, and you can't just burn yourself out. So that's fantastic. So, yeah. Miranda, I want to thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. If the listeners would like to get a hold of you or work with you or see more of what you're working on, where's the best place they can go for all of those?
Sure. I live on Instagram. I don't live in my address. No, I live on Instagram. Also, I have Facebook. If you want to connect and just kind of get a feel for me and my personality, if you're that person that's like, let me test the water before I decide to commit to you as a person. Instagram, it's Maranda Joiner, MarandaJoiner. All A's in my name, which is why I spell it, because it's so commonly spelled another way. And also my website is the same, mirandajoiner.com, if you want to check out a little bit more about me. And if you're interested in having a free discovery call to connect with me, we can chop it up to see if I'm a good fit for working with you and your brand, if you're considering it, or if you're ready to go. All of that information is there for you to book and start working with me. Those are the easier ways.
Awesome. That's fantastic. And I will make sure to put all of those links in the show notes so they can click right through and find you.
Please, I appreciate that.
Excellent. Well, again, Maranda, thank you so much. This has been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you. Same here. Thanks for having me again.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Advance Your Art podcast. If you like this episode, please go into iTunes and give us a 5-star rating. And while you're there, hit the subscribe button so that every single time I release a new episode, it will go directly to you without even thinking about it. If you're interested in hearing older episodes, please go to advanceyourart.com, where you can find the catalog of everything I've done so far, as well as contact information and projects I'm working on. Thank you again, and have a great day.